It's a Wednesday late afternoon. The Life Stories crew heads to Malaika Baby's home in Mengo, Kampala, expecting to see children in the typical orphanage kind of setting with limited resources, a low mood, and generally evidence of a sad journey traveled by abandoned children, just like it is in most orphanages. When we get in, for a second I think, is it half a daycare with other children from their biological loving homes? But I was wrong. The people who brought them into this world abandoned the healthy, good-looking, happy children that we see. They were all once emergency cases and breaking news. Malaika Baby's home is their new place of birth, which helps to do their emotional, psychological, and physical damage caused by abandonment. Hello, welcome to Life Stories, the moment where we all come down from wherever we are and talk about the elements that make our lives what it is. We talk about things as human beings. My name is Justine, your host. Today on the show, we're going to bring you stories of children that have been denied the chance of having a mother and father, having the typical sequence of what happens when a child is born because of circumstances that are beyond their control. But guess what? Somebody is giving them another lease to life. Somebody has decided to be their mother, their father. What is their journey and what is their fate in life when they are brought here? I'm at the Malaika Baby's home in Mengo, here in Kampala. Joining us is the home manager of this place, Madam Immaculate. How are you, my dear?
I'm all right, thank you, Justin. How are you?
I'm well.
You're welcome to Malaika.
Thank you for having us here.
You're welcome.
All the children here were abandoned.
Most of the children that we have here, almost 80% were abandoned.
Wow.
Yes.
That is really shocking because they look so good.
Yes, with the help of so many supporters, we've been able to take good care of them, and we do thank our supporters out there. Thank you really very much. We've been able to do this with your support.
What is Malaika Baby's home? What's it about?
Malaika Baby's home is a transitional care center that was set up in May 2010 to take care of abandoned children and make sure that we give them a decent life by ensuring that we work together as a team to place them in a decent home, in a decent family.
Whose idea was this?
This was Madame Lucy Buck's idea that she came up with in 2010 after seeing the different problems that were faced by children in what we call orphanages. And she thought that it's better to have children rescued and then they are placed back in families.
So are you rescuing them from orphanages?
We are rescuing them from wherever they are abandoned and working together with our social work team to make sure that they grow up in families.
How did she get to know that there is this need?
I'm meant to understand that Madame Lucy Buck lived in Uganda for quite some time, I think close to five years. And so she knew that the dynamics of Ugandan life. She lived in Uganda at a time when there was a lot of HIV prevalence, and she witnessed so many teenage girls go through the domestic violence, the violence issues, and getting pregnant and abandoning children. So I think that's when she conceived an idea of setting up Malaika Baby's home, but making sure that the children do not live in an orphanage, but they eventually end up in families.
So Immaculate, what steps did Malaika Baby's home take legally so as to establish whatever I've just seen?
Madame Lucy registered Child's Eye Foundation, the parent organization, in Britain in 2010. And she, when it was necessary, when it was thought of having a transitional care home, we worked with Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. I say we because now I'm part of Child's Eye. We registered Malaika Baby's home in May 2010 as a transitional care center that takes care of 25 abandoned children. Yes, please.
In the beginning, efforts are made to place the child with its relatives. If the trace is not possible or suitable, the team looks for foster or adoptive families to suit the individual needs of the child.
So tell us about the children. How do they get here?
We are in close contact with most of the government bodies. These are registered hospitals. We are in close contact with the different probation officers and the police. So just like it is with any other home in the country, when a child is abandoned in Kampala most especially, we are contacted by either the hospital where the child has been abandoned or the police station or the probation officer whom the case has been brought to gets in touch with us and then works with our social work department to have the children in the home.
Are there any children that have not been brought by police officers or hospitals? You know, are there children that you got from really unfortunate situations, like maybe they were dumped in a pit latrine or by the roadside? You know, do you have such cases?
Yes, we have such children. We have some children that have been dumped in pit. We've taken care of children that have been dumped in pit latrines, left in bushes.
How do you discover them?
But in most cases, it's the police that discovers these children and gets in touch with us.
Wow.
But we also have children that we rescue for prevention purposes, for prevention of being abandoned. But those are rare cases. They have a small number.
Tell us about them.
These are children sometimes produced by teenage mothers, and they are not able to take care of them. And instead of abandoning them, these mothers just walk to us and they work with our social work team so that we can, in the meantime, take care of the children as the mothers are being prepared.
How do the teenage mothers know that they're supposed to come here?
I guess from the public. People talk about child's eye probably, I don't know. I think the social work department would be in a better position to answer because they find out more on how they got to know about us, and for us we just receive the children. It's our duty to receive the children and take care of them and ensure that we work with the social work department to have the children back in families. Yes,
so what happens, what does a child go through when they come here? Are there medical checkups? You know, what happens when the children come here?
When we are contacted about a child being brought to the home, we first of all look at the number. We are only supposed to take care of 25 children at any one given time. So if we have slots or if we have space, we admit the child. And upon admission, a child is, if it is too late that we cannot go to the health unit that we normally use, we have the child in the nursing station under observation. And the next step will be to take the child to the health unit. And as we receive the child, we open a file and have the different documentation that the child has come up with, which file we maintain for as long as the child is here. We keep updating it with whatever information that comes up.
The children from many different backgrounds usually come in ill and malnourished. They are entrusted in the care of well-trained ladies who become their mothers. Each mother looks after up to 4 babies, which allows them to form a special bond with each child individually, raising them as their own.
When we employ a staff member or a carer, what we prefer calling mothers, we do train them on different ways of caring for children. So we prepare them to take care of any child that they come into contact with. Yes.
Wow,
they are trained
amazing.
on medication giving, they are trained on how to handle children with specific needs. They are trained in different areas.
What happens when a child has special cases, like asthma, like HIV, like probably a kidney problem, like a deformity, like a disability? What happens to them?
When a child is brought to us, we are able to find out if the child has any specific needs, and then we treat the child accordingly. If it is a health-specific need, they are taken to the hospitals and given medication accordingly. If it is physical disability, we are in partnership with some institutions that are better placed to give the appropriate care. So we retain the child anyway. Yes, please.
So how many children do you have now at Malaika?
At the moment, we have 24 children.
And how many mothers do you have?
We have 23 mothers.
Wow. So it's almost like every child has a mother.
I wouldn't want to say that, because we do respect that when people work, they get tired, and then therefore they need time off.
Oh.
So our staff is allocated in such a way that we allow people to have some leave.
True, because they're probably mothers too. They are biological children back home.
Definitely, most of them. Yes, please.
Are you in touch with the relatives of these children?
Yes. Once the relatives of the children have been found, the social work team works with these relatives to come and visit their own children, because our main interest is having children back in their homes, what we call resettlement.
How does a relative know that they are related to an abandoned baby, and that abandoned baby is at Malaika?
Our social work team does the tracing in the first 48 hours when we receive the child. And during the tracing, they either get to know the parents of the child or the other relatives from the extended family, and therefore they get in touch. And when they get in touch, of course, definitely...
They do the tracing with the police?
Yes, they do the tracing using newspaper adverts, using radio adverts, and talking to the different communities where the children have been abandoned. So that is how they get to know about the relatives and parents of the children, if they are available.
Don't you get cases where they ask for the children?
Yes, even if they came and asked, we want to make sure that they are prepared enough to have back these children. We wouldn't just risk placing them back in a place, probably in a home where they've been abandoned before. So they have to first be prepared by our social work team. They are counseled, and everything, when everything is okay, the children are taken home.
Since 2010, that's when you started?
Yes, please.
You've had only 23 children?
We've taken care of 130 children to present since May 2010.
What happened to the, the ones before the 23 now?
Yes. We've placed 65 back in their own families with their own relatives. That is either with the parents, if the parents have been traced, or with extended family. And we've placed 35 for adoption. And
And they've been taken?
Yes, and they've been taken.
Wow.
And the ones that have been placed for adoption are placed with Ugandan families, or families that are willing to stay in Uganda for a long time.
Why can they go? Why can they be taken by families elsewhere?
We do encourage local adoption, really. Yes.
Do you keep up with the children, whether they've gone to their relatives or they've been adopted? Do you keep up with them?
Yes, the social work team does follow-ups with whichever child has been placed, let it be for resettlement or adoption.
Coming up on Life Stories, adoption in Uganda is much simpler than you thought. You can be one's child opportunity. You could save them.